one. All right. Put your hands together and help me give a warm, wonderful, conscious life welcome to John Stella, who is doing wonderful work getting the secret out there, to Marie Diamond, who we all saw taught an incorrigible man how to attract love into his life, and to the beautiful and lovely Lisa Nichols.
Yeah. At church.
Serving the world.
So welcome to you all today, and as Seamus said, I'm John Steller, and I work with Rhonda Byrne directly. Our company is handling all the media and event flow that's going on. As you would imagine, it's at a very high tide level these days, and so we thank you for your support in that, and thank you for being here today. And many of you in the room may know, but I just wanted to preface where we came from, and these lovely ladies are going to talk about that journey and what they're seeing and where they see things headed. And Lisa's going to give you some tidbits about Oprah in case any of you are interested about how that went in front of the camera. But a little history. Rhonda Byrne is the creator and executive producer of the film. She is the blonde Australian woman that's in the first scenes, and at the end she's the one writing Feel Good in the Sand. And The Secret came about from her life in Melbourne, Australia, falling apart back in 2004. And she has been in the television and film industry there for about 20 years. So the television and film company that she had for about 10 years at that point was just to go in financial ruins. Her personal relationships were in horrible shape. Her father had died, and her mother, as a result, really didn't want to live anymore. So Rhonda got in a place where she was on her knees not knowing what the answer was. And one of her two grown daughters, Haley, passed her a book called The Science of Getting Rich. And if you've all seen the film, there's the book that she gets that Mama, This Will Help. And it was that simple book that opened up a discovery of 100 other books that took her back in time to 3000 BC and then back to present day to find the wonderful inspirational leaders, two of whom are represented here on the stage. Now what some of you may not know is that 55 different experts were interviewed for The Secret, and there were 120 hours of taken, which translated down to 24 total teachers and 91 minutes of film. So really a big part of the magic is in the editing, and anyone that's in television or film production would certainly see that. And I think you've all experienced the beauty and ease of the film with Rhonda's experience in that area. Let's see, what else? So Oprah and Larry King and the other things that have happened were actually created at Rhonda's production table in Melbourne, Australia, beginning about 2.5 years ago. And so everything that you're seeing happen has been carefully intended. I know the other thing that I want to say is that if in this room, if you don't know the vision and the intention for the film, I did want to share that for you. It's really important for Rhonda that people know is that the intention is joy to billions. Joy to billions. And that's where we're headed on this journey. Oprah this past week was certainly part of opening millions of hearts, people who may not have heard of The Secret yet. And we're still at the tip of the iceberg. So I just want to share where we've come so far, and I'd love to go ahead and turn it over to Marie and Lisa and let them share their experiences, what they've seen in the world, how life is now that they're in The Secret, as to how it was before, possibly. And then at the end, we'd be happy to take some questions. Lisa's available until about 7:10, and Marie has no end time, so until they kick us out, she and I can be here. So thank you again, and ladies, take her away.
Well, first of all, welcome to all of you. It's so wonderful to see you. And my journey started when I was 7, learning from my spiritual master the law of attraction. And I lived at that time in Belgium, and I had this vision of what I wanted to do in the world. I wanted to touch millions of people on their spiritual journey. But he said to me, you have to start by manifesting whatever you wish. And so one of the things he did, he asked me to draw everything that I wished for others to happen. So I started drawing as a child of 7 with several colors, and there were many things that manifested. In a way, there was visualization, what I did as a child. So it's a good tip for how can you bring your children to the law of attraction is to let them draw everything. And one of the things me, always make sure at the end of your drawing there's a beautiful rainbow. Make sure that it's like you will meet the end of the rainbow at the end of your journey. And that actually is where I started really knowing the law of attraction. And when I was 15, I had a near-death experience. And at that time, I really knew I'm going to America. I really knew at 15, I'm going to America, and I'm going to do some global work for the world. And I was sharing that with people, and they looked at me like, what? You know, and somebody said, you're just a small girl from Belgium. And I said, no, I'm a master in the universe. And they looked at me, I'm sure, thought I was ready for psychiatry. But I went for that. And about 10 years ago, I came to America for the first time. And many of you, I'm sure, know the Mount Shasta. It was the mountain that drew me. And then I really wanted to come and live here. And I saw Malibu, and I said, well, on that hill I'm going to live. And I started creating the image of living in Malibu. And since a few years, I live there. But I had on my vision board other things. I had on my vision board and on my drawing and on my intention is that I wanted to be in a movie that would reach millions of people's hearts. And I actually put 999 million people, just not to have it 1 billion. And I put that on there. And I didn't know how to get there, but I knew that's where I wanted to go. And everybody, that brings their work forward as a teacher have their own angle. And my angle was to really align the law of attraction of the mind with the law of attraction that is in your environment, in your home and office. And I started attracting people in America. I started teaching and so forth. But in a nutshell, I started at a certain moment very by coincidence, through dreams, through connections, to meet Jack Canfield. And I was at the first meeting that he brought together a lot of transformation leaders, where I actually met Lisa at that time. And I remember it was like so powerful. And I remember I went to Jack and I said, Jack, this is not my place. I'm just not known enough. And he said, I know you will be. Stay. And I looked at him and said, okay, be a good girl, I will stay. And all these things evolved. And then the third time we came together, Transformation Leaders, like 2 weeks before, I got all the time in my meditation, somebody from Australia is coming to see you. Every morning I heard this same voice, somebody from Australia is coming to see you. And I was at the TLC meeting, and there comes in Rhonda. There was only one place left next to me. And she said, hi, I'm Rhonda from Australia. And I'm like, there you are. And she looked at me, and I said, yeah, I know, I have to meet you. And then she interviewed everybody, and later on some said to me, but why were you on the movie? I said, well, it was on my vision board. Yours? So this is now to Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
There you go. That's the love I'm used to. Well, I'm really excited because my journey is very different. How many of you happened to see Oprah this week? Well, then you've heard a little bit about my story. I didn't grow up consciously knowing about the law of attraction. I was creating things in my life and drawing things to me, much of which I didn't want. But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that that was the case. I was born and raised here in Los Angeles, and I live between the Harlem Crip 30s and the Rolling 60s. Those are not cheerleading squads. And my family was considered legally in poverty, though I didn't know it. We didn't have any lack in my house, but we qualified for free lunch all 12 years that I was in school, so I get considered poor by someone, not by my dad and my mom. And so I grew up inside of a conversation that there wasn't enough. How many of you guys know about that conversation? It's not enough, money doesn't grow on trees, you know, all those things you hear Jack say. It's very similar to me. And so very early on, I had the power to draw things to me, but I wasn't drawing to me the things that I wanted. I wasn't blessed with a consciousness and a teacher like Maria was at a very early age. And so through a very awkward elementary time, because I was one of the first class of bus students bused to the Valley. And at that time, we hadn't learned how to live together. We're still learning that. And in my teen years, I always knew that I had a very strong energy and a very strong draw. You know, I can draw things, I can create things, and you know, I knew very quickly that I hoped that I do good, because I could really draw energy to anything I focused my attention on. At that time, it was really more than anything, it was just sort of sadness. But I wore the smile. You know how you wear the smile? But it was for everyone else. I wasn't living it. I didn't believe the possibility in my life. And then something happened where one day I just said, I believed with all my heart and soul that it will absolutely stay like this if I expect it to. And when I begin to expect something different, I believe that that will occur. And so I didn't have someone come to me. I didn't have someone release me. At one point, I realized that this is enough, that it has to get better than this, because I deserve better than this. I'm a daughter of the universe, and I deserve better than this. So my story comes from going to such a place where I knew that I was creating everything in my life. I didn't quite know how, I didn't quite know the laws, but I knew that what I was focusing on always seemed to manifest. And I was focusing on things that I really didn't want. And so I thought, well, if I can do that, maybe I can do that. And so I literally tried it out. That's what I did. I tried it out. And I wasn't a person who came from a background where I had a lot of spiritual teachers or even one spiritual teacher. You know, I grew up in a family where we had religion. Do you know? Anyone know them? We had religion. You know, we had hell and brimstone, you know, and do it or die and go to hell and fry. You know, it was that kind of energy. You know, so I was taught to do it because I didn't want something, not to do it because I deserved something better. And so when I began to shift my thinking, I was pretty lonely for a while because my immediate community wasn't inside that conversation. My household, you know, they knew Lisa was kind of out there. She's always trying something new, you know, just hold on to her. She'll be back in a moment, you know. And so I just began to try on something new and say, what if as a child of God, as a child of the universe, what if I deserve better and I have the birthright to get that? What if? And I began searching for that. And what I realized, and one of the things that you'll see in the Oprah After Show, which I hope you guys all find out when it's airing because the After Show is really good, and if they air this one particular part, it's really spicy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It got kind of hot in there. You know, I realized that if I can create this, then how far can it go? How much can I create? A little girl from South Central who was considered academic in school, who was told she was the weakest writer her English teacher had ever met in her entire life. I was like, does that come with an award? What if it really works? How far can I take it? And Oprah is just an example of the belief that it can. So, you know, when I sat with the teachers, when I was asked to join them, two things. One, I knew that I'd earned my seat with them. So I encourage you, the first thing is to not doubt what the universe has given you. You've earned that. You have absolutely earned that. So that whole why me, am I worthy? Okay, I'm just going to give you the answer, yes. So don't ask that question again. Just ask the question, so universe, what's next? Do you know what I mean? So two things happened when I was at what Marie explained to you as the Transformational Leadership Council, which of some of the top transformational leaders in the country, and these people are mega masters in training. And I knew I'd earned my right in a certain degree to be there with them because I'd been training teens, and I had trained myself, and I'd let people train me. Then the other part, when I was asked to be in The Secret, was it was real important to me to speak of the journey of someone who had come through a whole lot, and to expose and peel back my layers and share that with you. Does that make sense? But to you as your sister and walking with you as opposed to I've arrived somewhere, because I haven't arrived anywhere. I'm still on the journey. My life is not a destination, it's a journey. And everyone would see Oprah and say, oh my God, you're right, Oprah, oh, it's all over. I was like, no, it's just begun. We've just turned up the velocity now. And so when I was asked to give the teaching, it was real important for me to give it in the most simplest form because I wanted to teach the person who learned like me. And that is, I need to hear really clear. You know, don't be, I need to be straight, hit me right here. You know, don't give me any escape out because I'll take it if it doesn't feel good. Anyone else like that? Just make sure I'm not alone? Okay, good. Need to know I have company. And so for me, The Secret was real important to me to really embrace everyone, those who are at a conscious level like you, and those who would never, ever come to this conference, right? That they need to be embraced as well. And beyond that, to embrace our children, because our children have to be included in this journey. And so my intentions, and if you look at The Secret, which I know you will again and again and again and again and again, I kept talking about Lisa. If you guys remember that, I kept talking about Lisa, and that was a public statement to show you that I was willing to peel back my layers, but that was also a personal commitment to me and myself to tell the truth out loud and to be okay with my truth. Because I think the ultimate form of love is seeking information, but the ultimate form of love is to apply it. And the ultimate form of love is to tell the truth about yourself out loud and be okay with what comes out, no matter what. And so it was really exciting doing it. It was, I was in the space with some pretty amazing people. I kept reminding myself, God placed you here, the universe placed you here, everything's perfect, it's all great. I did have to do the chatter to turn down the chatter that was in my head at times, And then when I saw the finished product, I absolutely got why the universe and God had placed it so that I was there. When I got the call from Harpo Inc. A few weeks ago, they said, we'd like to talk to you for about 20 minutes and interview you to see if you would be, if we would utilize you as a guest on the Oprah show. And I said, okay. And John wasn't able to get a hold of me because I'm not the easiest to get a hold of. So John's call did not precede Harpo Inc.'s call. So I was like, where'd this call come from? I think Harpo means Oprah, right? And so I told her, I said, in order for you to understand the power of The Secret in my life, you have to understand where my life was before I knew about The Secret. And I don't think she expected that kind of truth from me. And so at the end of the conversation, I looked at my been on the phone for 2 hours and 39 minutes. And she ended with, can I call you back tomorrow? I was like, yes, honey, but I can't give you 2 hours and 39 minutes tomorrow. You are Oprah, I need to work. So they called back the next day, and then they asked, can we come out? Your story is so awesome, and are you willing to share that same story on national television? And I said yes. Little what I was getting myself into. So they then called and asked, can they come out to California? And they flew a producer team out to California, and they said they were going to take 3 hours with me. 7 hours and 45 minutes later, I had shared some of the most revealing private things about my life, and I knew somehow that's what they were going to air. And so I literally spent the next 2 weeks, I want to see you guys. Someone move this, I can't see this. I did it. You're welcome. I spent the next 2 weeks just affirming myself, because I knew what I had said in front of 5,000 people and even in front of 10,000 people, I'd become okay with Lisa's truth. I knew 49 million people was about to see it. That took another level of affirmations, you guys. And so I really spent the time for the 2 weeks between the taping and the airing affirming who the universe has made me. God has made me to be and who I get to be. And that I get to be her in spite of anything. I get to be her in spite of anyone's opinions. That The Secret is a wonderful piece of tool simply to give people the permission to live bigger and greater than they've ever lived before, and understand that they could have always done it, but don't beat yourself up about that. Just be accountable for what you've created, and then be excited about what you get to create. And so I'm excited to be here with you guys. This is one of the days that I spend with my son, single mom, and a businesswoman and CEO. I don't get to spend a lot of time with him, but I figured if you guys would be here, then I would come, at least to create some bridges for you, because a lot of times we feel like it's right out of reach, right? Like it's right beyond my fingertips. And I just want to let you know that that's just the myth of the mind. It literally is the myth of the mind. And it also is as real as you make it. So it'll be both. And you simply decide which one to you. I think I'm done unless y'all got questions.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you. It'd just be cool to hear a little bit about life after The Secret. And I'd love for both of you ladies to share a couple things. And first, I want to share a couple of stories just real quick, what I had heard. Jack Canfield and Dr. John Gray, who were in the film, who've been out there for years in their work, very well respected. They're finding a whole new audience for them now, and they've been so excited. And when we were at Oprah week before last, Jack told a story about being recognized in the airport by two college kids. And they were standing in line, and they said, "Hey, that's Jack Canfield, the guy from The Secret." He's like, "Yeah, it is. Should we talk to him?" Yeah. You go talk to him. And you know, they said, "Mr. Canfield, we saw you in The Secret. We'd love to buy you a hamburger and just have a chat with you." You know, and so he's got this chance to connect with this next generation.
He said yes
Yeah,
and let them buy him a hamburger.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
chatted
yeah.
with them.
Oh,
That's
you
really
heard it too.
important. Yeah, that's really important that he just said yes and sat down with them, which was really cool. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. And then John Gray told a story about how for years he's been the Mars-Venus guy. And he told me he was so excited to get recognized as the Secret guy because he said, "I can talk about something other than relationships now." So, and I've heard many more, but those are two I wanted to share. And I'm sure you ladies have some memories or thoughts, life after The Secret.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like I said, I'm from Europe, and even if I live here, so for me what was very interesting is that I went last summer back to Europe, and little did I know that The Secret had reached European continent. And so I went there, and I was very impressed by seeing how much secret parties had started.
Yeah.
Have you had this, some of you
anyone
going
had a
to
secret
secret
party?
parties?
Yeah.
Secret little gatherings?
That's really cool.
You know, and it was so interesting because some of the people there don't know me under the name Diamond. That's not my original Belgian name. Now, I'm not going to say my original name because you won't even repeat it. So I took that name on when I was here because otherwise, you know, nobody could spell it. And so people came to me and said, "Oh, we've seen The Secret." And I said, "Oh, okay." And they knew me for 10 years, and they hadn't recognized me in the movie because they never see me speak English. You know? And they could not get with their mind that that woman they know for 10, 15 years could be in a movie in America. Their imagination was not going that far. And I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen The Secret." And they said, "Okay, what do you think about it?" I said, "I think it's great." And then they said, "Oh, there's a gathering. Can you please come? You know, just, you know, enjoy the gathering." I said, "Okay." And so I went to this gathering with these people. There were about 500 people there. And I'm like, "Oh my God." And that is kind of big for that area. I would say Belgium is as wide as LA, okay? So I was like, "Ooh." And so, but somebody came up and said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm Marie Diamond." And I started speaking English. oh my God, Marie Diamond is here. So they dragged me in front. And so I started speaking English. And after 10 minutes, I said, it's enough. Let's speak Dutch. And people looked at me because nobody really knew that there's a Belgian person from Europe, that there's one European teacher in the movie, and that's me. And I was my friends just, their mouth dropped open because they could not get that. But what I really saw, that was for me like a major funny thing. I mean, I just adored that moment. And of course, everything I imagined that would happen in my life is now unfolding. The books and other TV projects and reaching so much people and having these wonderful testimonials coming. I mean, it's just, this is what I'm here for. And this is what we're all here for, aren't we? When I saw Oprah, I said in a conference call later that day to several people from all over the world, because I have a lot of people all over the world that know me already from before The Secret. I said, this is the shotgun, this is the start of the 100 meters. This is the 100 yards. They just did the start of the awakening of this planet. It just started. And I still, think it was so powerful, because now it's like everybody is like okay with it to be spiritual, to know universal laws. It's like, it's okay. And now you can actually tell to everyone, it's okay. And one of the wonderful things I've seen is people saying for years to me, how can I share this with my husband? How can I share this with my father and mother-in-law? How can I share it with my children? And the only thing now they have to do is buy The Secret and put it on and not say anything anymore. And they say, oh, this is how you do it. I remember I put The Secret on and my husband said, oh, that's how you have been doing all these things. I said, I told you. And so this is, I think, one of the most blissful things is that we have this mainstream tool that for some people say it's too materialistic, but most people that still need to awake are just still very focused on the matter. They are there. And Rhonda said to me once, Marie, this is for the billions of people that are not awake yet. This is not for the 1% that knows. But the 1% that knows has now something to share with the ones that are asleep. That is so powerful. And what I saw happening, what I think is the most mind-blowing, is that people tell me, like last weekend I was at a meeting, and I've changed hair and look, so most people don't immediately recognize me unless I start speaking, okay? And so they kind of said, oh, but you know where I got the movie from? Well, I live in LA, but I got it from a friend in Hong Kong. And this Mexican woman said, well, I got it from somebody in South Africa. And so I see that this is not just the immediately next neighbor that gives it to you. It is so international that people know all these things come to them and they attract that. But that was for me so famous, so fantastic, I would say, that people all over the world knows it. And you get these emails from people in Africa, in small countries, that just, want to thank you. And you see that kind of email to every teacher, just to thank you. And of course we thank back because we are grateful, first of all, that we can share a message. That was the first mind-blowing thing for me. And the second mind-blowing thing is that all these natural collective fields start happening with people wanting to know and share The Secret and have events. Because, that you start doing a vision board, okay, that's a tool that was in there, but there was not such a thing saying, come together and talk together. But this is happening really all over the world. Mm-hmm. And that is for me the most beautiful thing. Thank you.
I think to answer the question, how is my changed since The Secret. Prior to The Secret, I focused my attention in 3 areas primarily. One, I have a company called Motivating the Teen Spirit, and we teach teens how to fall madly in love with themselves and teach teens how to make integrity-based decisions. And I believe that's one of the main reasons why God put me on this planet, is to give teens the space to become emotionally healthy so they can become emotionally healthy adults, so they can have emotionally healthy children. And I'm passionate about that. I haven't been in the world with all the speakers and the trainers traveling around. I've been in the trenches with our children. And that's where I've been for the last 15 years. So I know a lot of you, thank you. A lot of people have emailed me saying, where were you before The Secret? I was working with your children. And I really didn't need a limelight because I believe when you're being obedient to the universe and you're being obedient to God, you don't ask for it to come with the camera, right? Just being obedient at whatever cost it is. And so that's, for me, that's what God has asked me to do. I brought you through your darkest years, which happen to be in your teen years and in your early 20s, and I want you to go back and I want you to bring about 1 billion through. And I said yes. Matter of fact, on my knees crying at 19, I said, God, if you bring me through this hour, I promise you I will spend my life helping others get through their dark hours. That's exactly how it happened. And so I'm simply honoring a commitment I made. That's simply what I'm doing. And that's what, thank you. And that's what I was doing before The Secret. So when all this secret stuff, I was like, what? Play adults? Camera? What? And I kind of was a little leery about it because it wasn't what I thought, you know, Lisa's assessment of what God was having me do. I was like, God, are you sure? You told me to work with the babies, and what are you doing? You know, and I just resist for a moment. Then I go, okay, wait, I feel myself resisting. That's not how I work with God. That's not how I work with the universe. And I went ahead with it. Well, what's really wonderful is that yesterday, a young 8th grade boy said, Miss Nichols, at my son's school. So what does one do the day after seeing themselves on the Oprah Winfrey Show? I went and volunteered at my son's school. Balance, balance, balance. And as I was walking into my son's class, this little 8th grade boy said, Miss Nichols, I saw you on Oprah Winfrey Show, and I just have to tell you the part that I really like the most. You like a part the most on the Oprah Winfrey Show. The part that you said that I have to be the first example of how others are supposed to treat me and love me. He said, I really needed to hear that. And I looked at him, and this just aha came like, oh my God, God, you have everyone in this conversation now. And so later on, he was in the workshop that I was doing for my son's school, and I asked him would he share that again and share why. And he stood up and he said, I realized that I don't treat myself really good, and so what I'm doing based on what Ms. said is I'm giving the rest of the world permission to not treat me good either, and that's not okay. He said, so I'm going to treat myself better starting now. And, you know, like 8th grade, little boy, 8th grader, you know. And so my life has changed in many ways in that now I'm playing in God's broader universe. That He said, I want you to start and spend the first 15 years with our children until you have that mastered and you can save teen lives and you can teach others how. And now, and really what I realized that now it's time to play in this environment, because I wouldn't have walked into this room and said, this is my audience. I would say, send all your kids next door, and I'm going to work with them because I believe that they need someone that can meet them right where they are, and that's been my anointing, and that's my gift. And what I get is that by working with them for 15 years, I just say it really clear, really straight, right between the eyes. I don't sugarcoat. I don't use a whole lot of really long words because they wouldn't get it if I did. And now I myself to be the type of speaker and trainer that's really straight so that everyone, the most conscious person can sit next to the most lay person and they both get the conversation, which is what happened on the Oprah Winfrey Show for me, that I was able to connect to anyone, the doubters in the audience, you know, the reluctant, you know, husbands that were drugged there by their wives, by the way, and there were many, you know, and so that's been really exciting for me. I've been noticed because I'm on the Chicken Soup for the Soul authors. And so I'm noticed places as a Chicken Soup for the Soul author, but it's nothing like being noticed as a secret. I was in a secret teacher. I was in the grocery store yesterday and someone said, you. And unlike Maria, you know, people immediately recognize me. It has something to do with like that great big smile and the orange afro, I think, you know. And so I'm in the grocery store and this woman goes, you, oh my God. And I thought, oh, that's weird. And it's so great because I live life with the utmost of humility and gratitude. So when they get excited, I get excited that they're so excited, and I'm excited. I'm like, ooh. So she's going, you. I'm going, what? and you know what she said next was really important to me because I so needed to hear this. She goes, you said exactly what I needed to hear on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She goes, you got right in my face, sister, and you told exactly what I need to hear. She goes, and I'm in transition right now. I'm going through some changes, and I have to do something bigger and better. And you said it so much. The way I need to hear is that I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning to hear you say it again. And what I said to her was, when I was sitting in my home being interviewed by them, and I was sharing and expressing and peeling back my layers, talking about having a lot of sex, looking for a little love, and talking about having to hide from that through obesity, and having to use the law of attraction, healthy relationships first with myself, and then healthy relationships with my family, and then healthy relationships with my friends, and then to love my body down to the size that I'm comfortable with. I said I wasn't seeing the producer's face that was sitting in front of me. I wasn't even seeing Oprah's face and the vision of sitting next to her. I told the woman in the grocery store yesterday, I was seeing your face. And so for me, the secret has simply put me in front of the people's faces that I've hoped to be in front of and hope to have served. You know, I truly believe that when I leave here, when God takes me home, like not tonight, God, but when God takes me home, I want to say that I used up everything I had while I was here. Amen. And so the way that my life has changed from the secret is that I see it manifesting through you, the fact that I'm doing what I've been asked to do. You know what I mean? It's not so much just the cameras and the lights. That's all great. But for me, it's the feeling that when I go home tonight, I spend the day living in my purpose. That's the biggest change for me, is that I get my purpose beyond teens. I get it on a universal level, and that feels good. And I think we all have the birthright to feel good every day. Yep. To feel good. And this has allowed me to feel good about what I'm contributing to the world. And then all the media and all the stuff, that's all great and wonderful. And as a speaker, that's wonderful. It's a greater platform to touch lives on. But on a very personal level, which you'll probably always hear me talk about first, because your personal level precedes anything else. On a personal level, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the way that God has asked me to do it.
Awesome. Now, we'd love to take a couple of questions, but first I want to put you on the spot, Lisa, and I want to acknowledge you for something.
Honey, I've been on all kind of stuff. You can't put me on the spot.
That's true.
Not like the spot I was on.
Yeah, she did tell all on the Oprah show. Yeah. One thing that Lisa didn't share about is that she's also going to become known as the face and voice of The Secret in South Africa. And I'm very, very grateful that you're going there. And we did another event in Pasadena, and the three of us were matched up there. And there was a woman in the audience, a woman of color, and she came to me afterwards, and Lisa had a line, and I think she may have had to go, but she said, you know, in the past, any program like this, people haven't looked like me. I wasn't represented. And she said, please thank the makers of the film for representing me here. And so thank you for representing us in South Africa. It's going to be huge. I mean, it already is huge over there. What Oprah mentioned was that she was in South Africa when 6 different people at 6 different times of the day asked her if she'd watched The Secret. So we know there's an epicenter in Africa, and we're sending you there. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any tissue or something? John started. He brought it on.
I made her cry.
Thank you, sis.
Okay. So we've got.
May I just say a little bit about that?
Of course.
Just a little bit, though. But John, thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you for that. I've always wanted to go to Africa, and I've been twice. But it's different when they call you and say, "Sister, are you interested in coming home and teaching us the secret?" So in May, I will be on a 6-city tour for 11 days where I'll deliver 14 workshops. And as I was standing next to her on stage, when she was hugging me,
Yeah.
she had already talked about the fact that she had brought a copy of The Secret for every single one of her teachers and her school. And so I said, "Oprah, I'm going to South Africa." And she said, "When?" I said, "May." She goes, "Where?" And I said, "Johannesburg, Soweto, Cape Town, Durban, Port Elizabeth." And she said, "Good, good." I said, "And I just want to be of service. And be of service to you." And she goes, "Okay, we're in business." So, and I just want to say this, and I hope this is in order, because I'm going to say it anyway. You have to know that I know many of you are thinking, "Oh my God, The Secret was an ingenious business idea for all those teachers to get on board. They're making a mint." We gave The Secret because we wanted to give to the world. There was no agreement for any financial. And I hope that Rhonda makes all the finances she can to do more good in the world. It's perfectly fine. We gave to The Secret the way she was giving to The Secret. She just wanted to make something to serve the planet, asked us, and we said yes. No intent to do any revenue exchanges or anything like that. Still none. So just for those questions that have come through my email, "You're going to make a lot now that you're on Oprah." I get to make a huge difference. And if some of you decide to visit our websites and get other things from us personally, then great. But The Secret was done for the intent to serve. And just know that the universe, God, gives you abundance when you give without any expectation of receiving back. So I just want to let you guys know, in case y'all was wondering. I answer the question that you don't even want to ask out loud. Are there any questions? And unfortunately, this is my mommy night, so I promised my son that I wouldn't be out all night, because he's been very patient with me in this world called, public life. And I'm on a plane in the morning, and I have to get to the airport at 5:30. Amen. 5:30 before dawn.
So that said, we've got about 15 minutes with Lisa. Okay, sir.
How about we count, just so that we don't have to keep going? So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5 in the back. And we'll just start with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer some service back to you, because it's wonderful, and I've been kind of waiting for the shit to hit the fan, and I'm very pleased that it's happening. I think you're not going home when you go back to God. I think you're home now.
Mhm.
You will truly understand that you are bringing home in truth.
Amen. Thank you.
Remember,
Thank you.
you are going to South Africa as a part of that God
Thank you.
you're going home to. So, sister,
I received that.
here's another woman here who's a white woman of not color or whatever, who lives,
She
who
said,
lives to Angola.
Amen.
And works with children there. So I hope that you and she connect with one another.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Could you stand up just so everyone can hear you?
My niece very, very much, and I would love for her to explore your program, but I'm not sure if it's, I don't know enough about it, and I was curious if you wouldn't mind, sharing a little bit more in depth about it, so that everyone, has their kids or grandkids
Sure.
or nephews
Sure.
would enjoy very much sharing more about that.
Okay, I'll share a little bit for the sake of time, and then invite you to just go to my website and get as much as you want. But we teach teens how to fall in love with themselves and how to make integrity-based decisions. We do interactive workshops where we give them the consciousness of the law of attraction, what they've created so far in their lives, and then we give them experiential learning exercises to ground that understanding for them. It's real loving, confronting, spicy, edgy. I mean, it's all of that, because they get up close and personal with who they've been in the world, and then create who they want to be in the world. We are designing a workshop this year for teens in the California area, because I'm all over the United States and in Africa and Jamaica doing these workshops, but we're going to do some here as well as across the United States. So if you go to Lisa-Nichols, just Lisa Nichols with a hyphen in the middle, and click on Motivating the Teen Spirit, look at the video and get a tissue, and you look at the video, because what you'll see is what happens when we relate with our children differently, what comes out of them. So thank you for that. And what I am committed to doing is also teaching parents how to be with their children differently, so their children won't think that I'm the only sane adult in the world. Do you know what I mean? But to teach new tools. And here's the reality. You can only teach your children what you've been taught. So we're just recycling dysfunctionality normally. But to really learn some new tools. And so I'm happy to do that. So just go to my website. And while you're there, download the free report. In the free report, I outline things that Lisa had to do, like mirror work. I want to invite you guys tonight to get up close and personal with yourself in the mirror. And before I leave, I'll give you some sentences to say that will really help bring some things out. .com. Thank you, Mommy. I know you're a mommy. 3.
Number 3.
The mic is ready now. Amen.
Thank you. I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization called CLE829. We help thousands of troubled kids in California and Southern California through the arts. Your company donated a copy of The Secret to us, and we have been sharing it with emergency shelters for kids, prisons, group homes for abused children, and these kids are really responding. They're getting it. What I would like to ask, one, is if Lisa, when you have some time, if we could set you up to work with some of these troubled children, and also if you have any tips, because we've got therapists, prison workers that want to use The Secret to work with the kids, but they're not sure how. And I'm wondering if you have any tips. Like Marie, I appreciate your idea of using rainbows to include in their drawings. And we're going to try to get them to use writing and the arts to express themselves. But because we're dealing with children that are coming from such traumatic backgrounds, if you might have some suggestions on how to work with these kids.
Sure. Really quickly, and again, I'm going to ask you if you would please go to Lisa-Nichols. I want to stay in communication with you. So the first thing I will do is, because of my schedule, it's hard for me to make a lot of commitments to go places. But what I can commit to you is that when we do our event, I'll make sure that there's a block of seats held for your children. Okay? So that's number one. But I'll do that by you logging online and then telling me who you are. Number 2, when children are from a broken place and there's so much in their life that that's hurt, sometimes the distance between the hurt is okay, that's a long distance, right? And it's hard to hold on to that because I'm trying to just get out of darkness. And so the one thing I would recommend you with your teachers, and one, bring your teachers through our program as well, okay? Because a lot of times, those of us who are serving, need to be served. Hello? Number 1, we're serving from an empty tank. And you can't serve from an empty tank. And so they need to have their tanks filled up, okay? So have them come into a program. You'll hear about programs later. But also, when you're working with your children real fast, anyone that's come from a dark place, baby step them. First of all, get them to understand that in spite of what they've been through, they're okay. That's a journey by itself, that you're okay. Then get them to become intimate with themselves, and not in a weird way. Intimacy, we think about 2 people. Intimacy really, really defined is in, to, me, I, see. Okay. They've been managing all of this chaos that they haven't gotten intimate with themselves. They haven't seen into them. They don't know who they give to the world when they show up. They have no idea their contribution yet. So get them back connected with themselves. That's some work. You'll be busy until we talk again just with those 2 things. Okay, but start there. You're welcome.
Hey, Lisa, before we move on to number 4, I just want to mention that Rhonda Byrne and her company have tithed thousands of DVDs. So if
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of DVDs.
So anyone in this room, like your organization, or if you know of someone with an organization like that, why don't you jot down my email and drop me a note, and we will partner with you on getting DVDs to your organization. My email is John, that's John, E like Edward hyphen PR.com. Sure. The email is John, JOHN, at E like Edward dash P like Paul, R like Roger.com. And I think in the subject line you could put something like secret DVD tithe, TITHE, something like that that will trigger that. And we would just love to be in touch with you and participate like that. So thank you.
And just for the record, Rhonda was tithing before she made a dime back. Just got to say that. That's faith, unwavering faith. 4. Who's 4? John, were there 4?
Yes.
I don't want to say this right, but I want to thank you first of all for the work that you've done. It's just incredible. And there's one other step, and it actually has encapsulated everything that I've been teaching the last 20 years on a radio show. I'm sorry. But there's a very important thing, and whenever someone calls back and says, "Thank you, you've changed my life," I always respond, and this is what I always respond. No, don't thank me. I merely just read a book to you or a story. You thank yourself because you took the words and you did it. And that is an important aspect, that you have gratitude for yourself. Amen. Because then you need another thing to help you to get to your next level when you are your next level.
I agree.
So thank you for that.
5. I think they want you to speak on the mic, probably. Right, but it's not about you. It's about the system being able to have a feed in. Come over here, my friend.
It's like there's a reason why they call it The Secret. I don't really watch TV. I haven't seen Oprah, so I really don't know what you're talking about at all.
So you want to?
The Secret. How about a little synopsis on what The Secret is?
You want me to do the short version?
Sure.
The,
How life is after.
right. So the short version, I'm gonna give you the really short version, and then I'm gonna say, please see the DVD and look at it tonight. But it truly just simply is a conversation. What you think about, you bring about. That your life is a physical manifestation of the conversation that's going on in your head. Is that pretty good? Yeah. All right. That's it. Now it's elongated and it gives great examples, but that's in a nutshell. That's the tagline.
Well, and I just want to add one thing to that. And when Rhonda Byrne was speaking with the producer at Harpo that was in charge of our whole show, there's a conversation that she ended, and he just about fell off his chair. She said, "I really could have told the 91-minute film in 2 words." And he said, "You're kidding." And she said, "No, feel good. It's about feeling good. If you feel good in your path, you're attracting what there is for you to attract. You're doing what your purpose is." So just want to underline that. And Rhonda just needed 90 minutes past that to make sure that nobody got lost on the way to feeling good. So, yeah.
I just wanted to ask, you mentioned something briefly about
people can't hear you.
Microphone. You mentioned something briefly about The Secret for a layman person. And I don't know if I can speak for anyone else. Well, I can't speak for anyone else but myself, but I'm sitting there going, that's all very fine and well and good. And there's this imaginary brick wall between you and me, which I know there isn't, and I know that's in mine. But I'm just saying, is there any one of you that could relate something to everyone to cross that boundary, or for those of us, if there are anyone else that are thinking, how, yeah, I understand, but it's still kind of jealous, it's still, I don't know. Anyway.
You want to go first?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that each one of the teachers have seen the wall too. We all have been there. And when I talked to Rhonda many months ago, she said that about 95% of the teachers at one moment of their life were homeless or bankrupt. 95%. And the moment we started that we wanted to share, they wanted to serve others, that we really wanted our life not to be about us, but about everything. And that we were in that oneness feeling, in the unified feeling of, it's not just about me, about somebody else, then the wall breaks down.
And if I can ask you a question, what would it feel like if the wall wasn't there? You've seen the wall for a while, and you can become comfortable with something that doesn't necessarily feel good. Have we all been there at one point or another? It's just what is. The wall's always been there. So what I just invite you to do is to ask the question, what would it feel like if the wall wasn't there? What would it feel like if I said, okay, it's coming in? What would it feel like? Because if you visualize the wall being there, then it has to stay or else you'll think you're crazy, right? And so I just keep asking the question. Sometimes you're not ready for the statement. Sometimes I'm not ready for the statement that I'm powerful and I'm awesome. Sometimes I'm ready for the question. What happens if I allow myself to be powerful? And then my feeling shifts, and then I can baby step. Remember that word I said, baby step? I can baby step myself to, okay, that felt good enough to say, I'm powerful. So with the question, what if that were real? And then let that baby step turn into ginormous steps. Anyone? I have to scoot soon. So anyone else? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. She said, you're not getting out of here without telling us the mirror affirmations. Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer her first, and then I'm going to stand. In the free report that I offer on my website, and I just kept doing what people want to know, the how-to. Everyone keeps saying, okay, Lisa, what how-to? I mean, like, I get the concept, but what's the sink it in steps, how-to? So I just created 4 steps. It's like a 4-step boot camp. And those 4 steps, if you do them right, will keep you busy for a while and will give you you'll have a quantum leap from where you are to where you want to be. One is one of the first, I think it's either the first or second thing, but to start intimacy. Into me I see. Before I could fill your tank, I had to fill my tank so that I wasn't serving you from an empty tank, and that I wasn't even serving you from a full tank. That I'm serving you tonight, Maria's serving you tonight, John's serving you tonight from our overflow. Mm-hmm. Say overflow. See, you don't even need that anyway, so, and then you're blessing and loving people from your overflow. But in order to do that, you have to turn inward, and that seems sort of selfish for a certain person. Well, it's your obligation to fill your tank up. Otherwise, you'll burn out, and we won't get the best of you. Or we'll get the you that's resentful for giving to us. You know how you've given with like attitude, like, oh, again? That doesn't feel good. Back to John's statement, it doesn't feel good. So to turn it back on you and to fill your tank up, what I do, now every teacher will give you a different scenario, but what I did, because I really was on a bone-dry tank, I got in the mirror, and I said I completed 3 sentences, and I encourage you guys to do this. And I'll give you number 1 from the 4-step boot camp, and the other 3 you'll have to go and get the report and read it and work it. Don't just read it, work it. The love for information will have you download the report. The love for yourself will have you put it in action. Okay, just know that, okay? I would first say, and I'd look into my eyes. Don't look at your skin. Don't look at your hair. Don't assess anything that's turned and dropped or whatever. Don't do any of that, because the whole idea is to be kind and loving to you, okay? So look into your eyes. First sentence is, I'm proud that you. Oh, I'm so proud that you, and then finish that sentence. For me, it would say, I'm proud that you played a little bigger today than you played yesterday, Lisa. Lisa, I'm proud that you did The Secret. I'm proud that you contributed in that way. I'm proud that you told the truth on Oprah. I'm proud. So and it's also very small. I'm proud that you got up on time and got to work. It's that small. I'm proud that you didn't yell at such and such when you really wanted to. So talk to you as if you were someone else acknowledging you. Because often we let other people deposit into us, but we want to acknowledge ourselves. So begin to shift that. Number 2, and now you want to do that at least 7 times. At least 7 times, 7 different things. Second is to forgive you for. Many of you are holding yourself hostage to a decision you made a long time ago. You know what I mean? Or to a direction you went a long time ago. Or to a direction you didn't go. Why didn't I? Or why did I? Why didn't I love him? Why did I get her? Whatever it is. You need to release yourself from holding yourself hostage to your past. So forgiveness. I forgive you for. Now for me, I went back months, and I went back 35 years. Because if it comes up in your consciousness, it's still there. Do you get that? Well, I don't need to forgive myself for that. If you thought about it, you do. If you thought about it, you do. And you must continue to forgive yourself for that until it doesn't come up anymore. Do you see that? Every day you'll do it until it doesn't come up. Every day you'll be proud for something new, proud for something different. So I'm proud that I forgive you for. And then the last one is, and this speaks to who you're creating yourself and what you're creating in the world. I'm committed to. I'm committed to. It could be I'm committed to be proud of the fact that I got up tomorrow on time the way I got up today on time. It could be I'm committed to loving on Lisa today. I won't put the gloves on. I'll just love on me. I'm committed to telling my truth out loud today, even at the risk of not being liked. What are you committed to? What are you stand for? You have to know what you stand for, so when it's questioned, you're clear first. Otherwise, you'll let other people rattle you. So those 3 sentences, every day, 7 times. I've been doing it for about 10 years. So when I walk out my door, I'm clear on what I'm proud of about me. I'm clear on what I forgive myself for today, so I won't let you beat me up for something I'm not beating myself up for. Right? Make sense? And I'm proud of what I stand for, so I won't compromise. So that's. No, I can't give you any more. I gotta go. I'm sorry. Okay, wait. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stay 10 more minutes, and that's all. Then I gotta go. I'm gonna stay 10 more.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna stay 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna drive on 2 wheels back to Hermosa Beach. Any other questions, John?
Okay.
Pick? Oh,
Lisa, my name is Anita. I want to thank you and all of you for the choices that you have made. And introduce to you, I have a program called Local Choices for Global Harmony, because I say as different as all of us are, the one thing we have in common that causes us to create our future is the choices we make. And at a time later, and I'm just so proud of all of you, the choices that you have made to be courageous and provide this film to us. And at a proper time later on, I'll contact you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for what you do. Right here, in the green, right here, John.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, amen. I love your daughter. What's your name, baby? What's your name? Alex, how old are you, sweetie, if I can ask? 19. I love you. I love you. I do. And remember that who you are today is so incredibly fabulous. Like the world can hardly contain you. And who you get to be tomorrow is even huge. And for anyone that comes that tries to suck that light away, it's only because they need some light. That's it. Okay? You're welcome. Are you calling me? John, you a teacher?
What? Gentleman right here. Yeah.
Oh, good. A cordless mic.
I don't know if this is true or not, but are there 2 versions of The Secret? I bought one probably about months ago or something like that, and then I heard there's another one that was re-released. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. There are 2 versions. There's the original, and the revised is called the extended edition. What I can say is hold on to that original. I heard that it's for sale on eBay for about $100. So, yeah, you're gonna have a collector's edition there. But yeah, the film was revised and then re-released in September. Yeah. Gentleman standing up.
John, I have a question. When can we see it in Spanish? Here in California, we have a very large Latin community. Love to hear it.
We've Rhonda's CEO back in Chicago has been working on languages. We've got I think it's 6 or 7 different languages in the film coming out within the next month, and we've got distribution on every continent. And one of the players that is coming into the fold is Sony. And as you all know, Sony's global, and they've got a distribution network that can help The Secret be everywhere. So yeah, but languages, 6 or 7 languages coming within the next month. And you can just go back to the Secret website, which is www.thesecret.tv. and we'll let you know when those languages are available.
There's a gentleman over here. We haven't called that.
Okay.
I just love you guys, and we're going to have music and dancing upstairs, and I wish you'd stay and play with us.
Awesome.
Thank you. Right here.
Hi, this question is for Lisa. Just when you're saying the 7 times, are you saying 7 different things every day? Okay.
No, you may say the same thing.
Okay.
If it comes up, then say it again. Each time you're doing the 7, do 7 different each day. But every day you can do, every day I say, my son has only seen his father 1 time in his life, and he's 12. Every day I say, I'm proud that my son has only heard me say positive things about his father. Because I need to keep celebrating that, And so every day I say that as I'm on my journey as a single mom. I keep reminding myself that I've made a great choice. And
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have I just wondered on your we get your website, and also if you have any tips on there, like she had the tip for the affirmations. Do you have any tips on like how to get rid of clutter and make, you talked about you can't let anything new in your life if you're holding on.
Yes. So one of the things, you can go to the website mariediamond.com, and you can download a free ebook called The Secret of Feng Shui. Because what I'm actually talking about is that it's great to have things visualized and focused on with your mind. But if your home and your office is not aligned with that, it's very hard sometimes to manifest. Because your unconscious mind in your environment, all the images you put out are doing sometimes the opposite of what you want to create. And you are not always aware of that what you're asking and focusing on, that unconsciously for 24 hours a day, a week, you see something else. And so you can download that free ebook. And because for me, Feng Shui is actually the law of attraction in your environment.
That's mariediamond.com.
mariediamond.com.
She's jumping.
Well, hold on. Just is the DVD player coming or here?
It's here.
Where are you going to show that?
That's what we're deciding. I think we're going to show it back up here or
here.
And what's
what
going to
are we
happen?
showing?
We're showing Oprah and you, my dear.
We brought the show along on DVD. It's 41 minutes with the commercials cut out. So we're happy to show that, and I think you need to go, right?
I do.
Okay, so
but I know that this lady has been like dancing at me.
okay,
so
then
I
we got to
want-
get her question, and,
yes.
and then what we'll do is we'll show the DVD up front, and then I think Marie and I will go in the back corner for other questions.
And if you have any questions or comments that you didn't get or want me to know, please know that I do read the emails. So if you go to lisa-nichols.com, download the free report, and send me something, and I try and answer as much as I can. So please, if there's something you did not get to say, feel free to join me in that community. And we'll be doing some work in Los Angeles with Agape and some seminars and workshops. Yeah, we're creating something. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And like last week, I'm walking down the street, a totally different neighborhood or area, and some guy comes up to me, "You're Gigi, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm from the building. We just had somebody give notice. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I could go on forever, but my friends I was the girl who was in her own way. I was the girl who grew up not loving herself, and I can't even begin to tell you how it now feels, because I used to think that every time it would get good, the bottom was going to drop out. So I would keep myself from receiving because I didn't know it was possible, because I was like, if something good happens, then I can't handle the bad that has to come from that or after that. So I just got to tell everybody here, it works, it is true, and it has truly and completely changed my life, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your work.
Well, before they show the video, please know that we're simply those chosen do it to teach the secret inside that particular medium. You're here because you've been chosen to teach it inside your environment. It's not by accident that you're here listening to this message tonight. So I'm going to ask you who will be touched and whose lives will be impacted because of you. I think with every great gift comes a charge. And so it's my honor to serve you in any way that I have. I love each one. Please enjoy the Oprah viewing for those of you who will stay. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere, somehow, doing something. I love you guys.
Right. Okay. Well, I know some of you are going to be going. Those of you who are going to want to see the Oprah and the